Infinite banking. This is going to be a long one. Buckle up. So, infinite banking is basically a savings vehicle within life insurance that you can leverage and use the cash value. Meanwhile, the cash value stays in the account. So, an infinite banking policy is basically an indexed universal life policy or a whole life policy. That's about it. Technically, whole life can only be done with infinite banking because it's guaranteed returns. Guaranteed returns meaning that whole life will guarantee you anywhere from 3 to 4% every year with some kind of dividend. Now, you can use indexed universal life as infinite banking, no problem. You just have to know that the guarantees are a floor. What is a floor? A floor means if you're indexed in an indexed universal life policy and the S&P 500, that S&P 500 may return a negative 20, a 35 plus, a 6 plus, a negative 1. You never know. The floor is if the market does do a negative 22, if the market does do a negative 6, a negative 1, you get a zero, a fat zero. That's the guarantees in an IUL. The guarantees in a whole life, like I said, is 4% fixed. So that is the reason why quote unquote infinite banking is supposed to be done with whole life. Now, everyone that I sit with, almost everyone, maybe 1 out of 50, like the whole life because it's guaranteed. Most of the time, I only say to use whole life if you are a business owner that's going to dump in hundreds of thousands of dollars and you need immediate access to cash value, like now. Everyone else, index universal life over the life of yourself, always wins. So let's say you have an IUL and you're putting, round numbers, $10,000 a year. The first year, you might have a cash value of $8,000. So you put in $10,000, you have $8,000. People may say, well, I'm negative. Why would I do that? It's because what you will get in the future. So you might have a cash value of $8,000, but the first year they kind of throttle you. So let's say you have access to $4,000 as your line of credit. So the first year doesn't make sense to borrow from them. So let's say 4 years in, you put in $40,000, cash value is $37,000, and you have access in loans to $36,000. So you can borrow $36,000 from the insurance company, and your entire $40,000 stays in your account, earning interest, earning some kind of market interest. So let's say 10 years in, you put in $100,000, it's worth $140,000. That's the reason why you took that $2,000 hit at first. You put in $100,000, your account's worth $140,000, and you have access to about $135,000, $140,000. So you can now borrow $100,000, put it as a down payment on a home, fix it up, sell it, cash out, refinance, rinse and repeat. So that is the reason why we use infinite banking, because you can borrow against an appreciating asset, meanwhile invest the money and never touch that appreciating asset. So that $140,000 stays in your account, earning a market interest rate. Meanwhile, you borrowed $100,000 from the insurance company, so you used OPM, other people's money, to now invest and create more cash flow. So you're earning, say, 7% on average in your IUL. You reinvest your money and say you make a 14% on that, and then your loan costs you, say, 4%. So you make 14 minus your 4% on your loan, that's 10. So you made 10% here, 7% here. So you made 17% by leveraging your money. That's infinite banking. So infinite banking on a personal level wouldn't be for real estate. Let's say you just wanted an alternative savings, that you were tired of using a checking account. So instead of going to your local bank, putting all your money in a checking or savings, you put $10,000 a year into an IUL. Say 3 years in, you have access to $22,000. So you can borrow against $22,000 for any reason at any time. Doesn't matter if you have W-2s, background checks, none of that matters. So let's say you go ahead, you borrow $20,000, you go on this huge vacation for a whole month. Now you come back, if you pay back that $22,000, you will replenish your line of credit and you can reuse it. If your roof caves in and insurance doesn't cover it, you have $20,000 that you can borrow and use. So infinite banking can be used for business purposes, entrepreneurial purposes, or personal. So infinite banking is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is not a 20% ROI crypto. It is a long-term method to save money without a bank account, and you can leverage that bank account, use it for investments, use it for traveling expenses, buying a vehicle for your children, funding their college, anything you want it to be. One more quick statistic. In 2008, over 400 banks went out of business. Do you know how many insurance companies went out? Zero. Only one got bailed out, and that's AIG. Today, about 3 banks have went under. The same amount of capital has disappeared as the 400 banks that went under. So you tell me if the future is looking very bright for banking. So if this is something that you could see yourself doing and you're trying to get out of the banking system, you want to leverage your money, you want it to grow for you, you want it to grow tax-free instead of tax-deferred or taxable, reach out. Send me a comment, send me a DM, IBC, Infinite Banking, be your own banker, whatever you want to call it. Let's get started and see if this situation will work for you.